Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Arnold Son DBG watch. This is a new model from the brand, and there's two watches that are of similar ilk. There's the DBG, which is this one, and there's also the DBS, and they're virtually identical except for the fact that the DBS has a different complication. So on this watch you actually have two time zones. In fact, the entire watch is actually like two watches in one. The movement, it looks like one movement, but the architecture is split so that you essentially have almost all of the needed parts for two distinct movements. But I'll get to that in a second. So on the dial here you have time on the right and you have the time on the left. And on the DBS model you have the time on the right, but on the left you have the time as sidereal time, which is a sort of astronomical variation of the civil time, which basically uses, as I understand, the Earth's perspective to the stars versus the civil time as we have it. So is that useful? I mean, no, not really. Maybe if we're really into sidereal time, but for me, the DBS is kind of an interesting collector's item, but the DBG is actually a very, very useful watch. Let's take a closer look at this really, really beautiful creation from Arnold Son. So as you can see on the dial, the most interesting element are these double balance wheels that are spinning around there, and it looks great. Looking at this watch, having it on your wrist, examining those double balance wheels moving all the time is fantastic. And they are joined together, I believe, so that they sort of cancel each other out. I believe that's the way that works. But it's possible that they are actually operating completely independently of one another. On the back here, you have this sort of bilateral symmetry for the most part. There is a shared winding system here, so there's a gear here, as you can tell, that will move between the gears in order to wind the two mainspring barrels. But otherwise, you have separate gear trains for each. So in a sense, you basically have two different movements. And so because there's two different movements, when you want to adjust the time, it's totally independent. So you have here on the left the time, which you can set, to the minute. And then on the right, you have the time, which you can set to the minute. What I like is up here, you have also two hands. And this is a 24-hour indicator, which is basically going to be your AM/PM indicator. So if you're using one as your local time and the other one is your home time, you'll know if it's AM or PM, basically day or night, where that other time is. And that's a handy feature to have. I also like that the hands are a little bit different. So you'll see here on this dial, you have Arabic hour indicators, Arabic numeral hour indicators with filled-in hands, and you have skeletonized hands here with Roman hour numerals, and that's really a nice feature to have. Detailing is really, really great on the dial. Beautiful texturing and surfaces, very high legibility. I love those blued hands. It's just a really good looking watch. This model is in steel and also comes in 18 karat rose or pink gold. And it's 44 millimeters wide, which I think is a great size. It's also very thin. You can tell this is quite a thin watch, very dress size, fits under your sleeves, but it's also very, very comfortable. And so I like when I see a watch which isn't afraid to be a bigger watch in terms of width, but still isn't very thick. I think that's a great thing. Style-wise, there's a couple things that this looks like. Of course, there's the MB&F Legacy Machine #1, which in a similar vein has two distinct time dials next to each other. There's also some of the Jaeger LeCoultre, the duometer watches that also have this exposed architecture in there. I wouldn't say that Arnold Son is necessarily using someone else's design, because it's very, very independent, but it's good that in the market there's things that look similar to it. But overall, it's a very, very original watch, and I like that. Of course, you'll notice that there's a central seconds hand which is shared between both of the times there. So everything in the dial is really used in a nice way, and you definitely have a lot of balance there. Nice alligator strap there, and again, you can see it's very, very comfortable fit on the wrist. Legibility, again, is quite good. The movement is, I believe, made in-house by Arnold Son. And this is overall a fantastic piece. Price is up there. In steel, this watch costs $28,000. And in gold, it's going to go ahead and cost you $42,500. And you can see the full review of the Arnold Son DBG watch on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.